you know that we're in the process right now of cleaning up a cyber breach that actually one of our clients had. I'm not going to mention who they are. They're not in this industry, but they actually are in the cloud, and they did a great job a long time ago of getting into the cloud with us in Amazon. But where they had failed to really take the strategic guidance that we were offering and have been offering over the years is with the cybersecurity posture. And so, although we've made recommendations, strong recommendations, and we've delivered some strategy to them, for budgetary reasons, their ownership, and they're also about $100 million a year company. Their leadership, they considered our recommendations, and they decided to not do things like penetration testing and vulnerability assessments, and put some internal network monitoring tools in place just to be proactive about it. They chose not to do that, and we got the inevitable. It's that whole idea of it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when. If it hasn't happened already, we got that call from them over the weekend, this past weekend, that hey, our files are encrypted. And in their particular case, they're not just in Amazon, with us, but they have some on-premise servers. So the people that were able to ultimately breach their network through an external vulnerability, as their IT company, we have no real way to know that the vulnerability exists unless there's some sort of testing done that gets done by a third party, which is why we encourage the vulnerability assessments. So there was a vulnerability. They were breached by some evil people that are out there lurking, and they were on the company's network, we determined after the fact, for several weeks. They had installed some key logging software, so they were logging keystrokes, they were getting passwords. I mean, they were quietly doing their thing, and then they ultimately encrypted the data on all of the servers in the cloud and in the local office. We were able to, so once we got notified, we were able to quickly recover the servers that were in the cloud. I mean, I think within a couple of hours, we had all that recovered from restores, from backups. The local office infrastructure was compromised severely, and it's a far longer story, but ultimately we were able to get everything recovered, everything restored as we speak. I mean, today is Thursday, I think, but as we speak, we're just finishing that cleanup. And just to share with you what we were able to achieve, I'm going to read to you a text that I received from the IT director there last night, and it said, "Matt, I can't say enough about you and your team. We love you." Now, the reason I'm saying that isn't to share our praise. It's to explain and share that we got them back up and running in about 3 days. And that's why she's saying that. Typically in these scenarios, you're down for a week or two, and you don't necessarily get everything back. I don't know what it cost them to be down for the past 3 days. We got them up slowly, but it was a really unbelievable recovery, and it really was amazing that we were able to get them back to where we did, considering that some of the recommendations that have been made over the years, again, were not, they weren't deployed because there's an investment that had to be made. And it's always that kind of idea of like, oh, it'll never happen to us. And that was a little bit of the mentality that this company had. And, I had to speak to the owners several times over the past few days to obviously keep them in a good place emotionally, but also to keep updating them. We certainly haven't had the conversation yet because it's not appropriate timing wise to share with them, okay, I think now is time to start taking our advice. But I'll have that conversation with them next week. But it's in the end, it wasn't worth it for them to avoid spending a couple of dollars a month for some proactive network monitoring and to do a penetration and vulnerability assessment once or twice a year. The cost of that is significantly less than whatever it cost them. They're a large manufacturer, whatever it cost them to basically be out of business the past 3 days. Thankfully, they had made the choice to go to the cloud a couple of years ago, and they're running everything there with us. And so, rather than a 2-week out, frankly, they were on death's doorstep. And there was a chance they weren't going to get back up at all a day and a half ago. So it's all because their cybersecurity posture wasn't what it should have been, and their leadership was the expression is penny wise, pound foolish, and that's what was going on. So in the end, there's a happy ending, and everything is good. We got everything back, but we shouldn't have to have such a heavy lift and work so hard to have to get things back. It's only because they weren't taking the advice and the guidance, and really making it actionable. And that's a story it's like I said, it's unfolding. It's coming to a conclusion. It's happening as we speak. That's what these 3C's are about. It's cloud and cybersecurity and collaboration tools, but the cloud and cybersecurity go hand in hand. And no matter how large or how small your organization is, we live in an environment now where you must pay attention to cybersecurity. You must have a cloud strategy, and you certainly need to have collaboration tools in place and a way to work, because as we all know, going back to March of 2020, the way we work changed, and it's not going to go back to some other way. This is the new normal is basically the norm. Invest in your company, invest in your cybersecurity, consider cloud as part of that solution, and focus on when it happens to you, how fast will your company be up and running again, and what's the impact to your company and to your clients and to your projects and to your deliverables, whether you're building roads, bridges, tunnels, buildings. It matters, because the people that are hiring you, they rely on you, and they're assuming that you've got everything in place so that you can deliver the service to them. And if you don't, it's something that you should consider. And the takeaway is, and we're certainly here for you to give you advice and to give you our assessment, but whether it's us or anybody, realize that you need somebody that you can rely on to give you good strategic advice with your technology to ensure that your business is going to be something that you can rely on infrastructure wise, and that it matches up with your business's goals and you can deliver your service.